So step one, Todd, is like you have to know what you're doing. I think that absolutely there is a personality match for like a real estate agent or any type of salesman. You don't have to be that perfect quintessential salesman in order to be successful, but there is that personality factor. However, you have to know what you're doing. You have to understand the market. You have to understand just real estate in general.
Hello and welcome to Pillars of Wealth Creation, where we talk about creating financial success with a special focus on business and real estate. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Now, let's get to it. Hey, our sponsor for the show today is Pine Financial Group, the leader in hard money lending in Colorado and Minnesota. And they were recently approved to offer their investment publicly. This investment offer is only for investors in Colorado and Minnesota and is only made through their investment prospectus. Get your copy today. Simply visit www.pineinvestments.com and click to get started. Look, there's a reason why some of the wealthiest people in history invest in loans backed by real estate. Learn more about the risks and returns at www.pineinvestments.com. Hello and welcome back to Pillars of Wealth Creation. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. With me today, I've got Tim Nelson. Tim, how are you doing today?
Great, Todd. Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining me. So I've got a little bit about Tim, but I'm going to have him do the main introduction. First of all, Tim and I share the same college. We went to college together, but not together, right? We went to the same university, but you were a little bit after me. And Tim was a stud cross-country runner, broke all kinds of track and cross-country records. But then he became a real estate investor and a realtor and is absolutely crushing it in the real estate space. He's been a realtor for just a short period of time and is really doing amazing as far as sales go, and has far exceeded what I would have expected at this point in time. So I'm excited to have Tim on the show because I want to talk about what he's doing to set himself up for success, where most other people aren't seeing this explosive growth so quickly as what Tim is seeing. So Tim, with that, why don't you give our listeners a bit about your background and what I left out?
Okay, yeah, thanks, Todd. So like Todd said, I'm a real estate agent for RE/MAX affiliates out of the Eau Claire, Wisconsin area. I guess my home office is Menominee, Wisconsin. I focus mostly on first-time home buyers, first-time home sellers, and then investor buyers and sellers. Those are kind of the three parties I work with the most. Between myself and my wife and my dad, we also own a real estate investment company. It's called CJRT Properties, and we own, together we have about 25 student rental doors, all in Menominee, Wisconsin. So I do probably 90% real estate sales, 10% property management. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at today. Always looking to grow both sides of the business. And I'm lucky that I have a great partner in my dad to kind of manage the real estate investing while I focus on sales.
So Tim, you're also active, or you're in the military. What's your branch position, all that kind of stuff?
Sure. Yep. So I was in the active duty Army from 2014 to early 2013, 2018. And now I'm in the Minnesota Army National Guard. I'm a captain, and I'm actually the crazy troop commander in 194 Cav. My home armory is in Cloquet, Minnesota. So I'm actually, I don't live in Minnesota, but I'm there every month.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Awesome. Well, thanks for your service as well. Tim, I want to, first of all, when I first kind of started talking to you about real estate, you were still, I think you were still active duty, and you were buying student rental properties in Menominee, University of Wisconsin Stout. Talk to us about that. What that mindset shift, or maybe you were always in that mindset, but talk to us about that, being active duty and being, a real estate investor buying these student rentals. How did that come about? Why? And how did you find success in doing it?
So it was a challenge because I bought my first rental property. I graduated college. I had about 4 or 5 months in between my graduation and my report date to my Army unit in Georgia. So that's when I bought my first rental property. That was the only one I ever bought when I was on the ground in the local area I was buying at. So I was buying when I was in Korea, I bought a property. When I was in Kansas, I bought a few properties. When I was in Georgia, I think I bought maybe one or none. But the only reason I was really able to be successful is because I did have that person back here looking out for me and vetting the properties, touring the properties, and that was my dad. We were at that time we were sort of investing together, sort of apart. But if I was ever interested in the property, I had him to both go tour the properties. Basically give me the rundown of what he thought of the place, and then also to manage them. So that was very helpful. I couldn't have done it without him, honestly, or it would have been much more difficult.
So that first property you bought, you were just out of college. Take me through that deal. How did you get that deal done?
So I was really lucky, Todd. I got a loan through USAA called the Career Starter Loan, and it's available to any Army officer, actually probably any military officer of any branch, Marines, Air Force, Coast Guard, whatever. And it's $25,000 unsecured personal loan that you can basically take out and use for whatever, because USAA knows exactly how much money you're going to be making once you become an officer. So they give you this loan and you have to pay it back over 5 years. And it was like 2.99% interest. Well, luckily, the guy that my landlord when I was in college, you may remember him, Todd. He was looking to get out of the business. He owned all of his properties free and clear. And he said, yeah, sure, I'll sell it to you on land contract. So he required 20% down, but he didn't care where the money came from. So I used that unsecured loan to buy my first property land contract. So it worked out really well, actually. If I could do that again, I would do it over and over again. And I saw a lot of guys who bought brand new trucks with nice sound systems and whatnot. And I feel like I made a wiser investment.
Yeah, definitely, because those brand new trucks are no longer brand new, and those sound systems aren't probably quite as nice as they once were. But you've got a property that throws off cash flow every single month, and you could now go buy a truck and use that profits for the payments on that truck. So it worked out really well. Get into more detail then about buying these. You've got 25 doors of student rentals. Get in a little bit more details on buying those, and maybe how your mindset was in order to get those deals done.
So we primarily used our own money. We have not luckily from the investments my dad has and my mom's job, they generate enough income that they have extra income left over that they can use for real estate investing. And I was fortunate enough to be a high enough wage earner that I could do the same. We have used some of our equity more recently to buy additional properties. Obviously, leverage is how you can grow a lot faster. But I'd say primarily it has been using our own money. So we mostly invest for cash flow. So what I really look for is if I can just quickly looking at the numbers, I'll crunch them. Luckily, being a realtor, I have pretty easy access to that kind of information. If I can get 20% cash on cash return in a property, it piques my interest. If I can't get 20%, I probably am not interested. So I look anytime a property comes up that's in the student rental district that doesn't need a ton of work, because believe me, as well as I do, Todd, Menominee, Wisconsin, there are a lot of student rentals that do need a lot of work. I'm definitely not afraid to do, some rehabbing, adding bedrooms, adding bathrooms. We've done a lot of that kind of stuff in the last couple of years just to increase the rent and therefore increase the value of our properties. But if I look at a property and it doesn't seem like it's going to get 20% and I don't see a way that I can get there, I'll just wait. So,
yeah, good to have your patience, and good to have a strategy in place. What's the goal then with your investing before we pivot over to the realtor side of things? What's your goal for investing? Where are you going to take that business?
So right now, Todd, my goal for this year, short-term goal, was to add 8 units this year. So far, we've added 4, and I absolutely feel like we're going to get to 8. I'm not worried about it at all. I'm just waiting for the right ones right now. So that's the short-term goal, is to add 4 more units this year. Ideally, I'd love to get to the point. So right now, I think our cash flow that my wife and I make off of our rentals on a monthly basis is like $2,000 a month, which is, it's nice, but not really something you could like live off of. So I'd really like to triple that and get to like $6,000 a month, totally replace like my wife's potential income. And that would allow me just to focus solely on real estate sales, take a little bit of pressure off myself, maybe work with more clients that I want to work with instead of working with people I feel like I have to work with. And the ultimate goal is I like using my own money and using my own equity, and so that I, basically can call all the shots, and keep it, kind of a family business. I'd love to pay all my properties off by the time I put everything on a 20-year note. I'd love to pay all my properties off by the time I'm like early 50s. And then at that point, I would like to sell them all in land contract and move to Ely, Minnesota. So
to Ely, Minnesota, which anybody that doesn't know Ely, Minnesota, it's a little tiny town in very northern Minnesota, and it's super cold in the winter. That's all you need to know about Ely.
It's also the gateway to the Boundary Waters, Todds.
That's true. Oh, beautiful area up there. Hey, let's take a minute to thank our sponsor, Pine Financial Group. Look, you work hard for your money. Is your money working hard for you? Because of inflation, money sitting idle erodes your wealth. Many investors understand that real estate is a great investment, but may not want the effort or the risk that comes with owning their own property. They want to sit back and have payments hit their bank account each and every month. Stop eroding your wealth and start building it by asking your money to work for you. You should be earning profits while you sleep, an investment backed by real estate. Pine Financial Group, the leader in hard money lending in Colorado and Minnesota, was recently approved to offer their investment publicly. This investment offer is only for investors in Colorado and Minnesota and is only made through the investment prospectus. Get your copy today. Simply visit www.pineinvestments.com and click to get started. There's a reason why some of the wealthiest people in history invest in loans backed by real estate. Learn more about the risks and returns at www.pineinvestments.com. It's www.pineinvestments.com. I want to invite you to join us at the Northstar Real Estate Conference. This conference is September 20 and 21st in Minneapolis, and it's going to be packed full of a ton of great speakers. We've got just a great group of people speaking. And you can look at our lineup on our website, nreconference.com, and sign up there as well. We've got an early bird special. All you need to do is type in early bird, one word, and you can get $100 off. And that's good through August 10th. So make sure you sign up now. Take action. Look, people that take action and value their education are those who are going to succeed. I know there's a lot of free content. My podcast is free. There's all kinds of free content out there, maybe even free meetups that you're attending. But this conference is going to blow your socks off. This is going to be well worth the price, and all the profits go to charity. So it's definitely time to take action. Sign up now. Don't delay, because the prices will go up. But you know what? Every time I attend a conference, I 10x. Actually, I would say I'm more like 1,000x even my investment, 100, 1,000, potentially even more x my investment. I've met so many fantastic people. I've met investors at conferences. I've met potential partners at conference. I've joined mastermind groups because of conferences. So it's a ton of value. You cannot replace it. So check it out, nreconference.com. Thanks a lot. So let's shift then to your realtor, because I think that's a really cool story. I mean, you were in the active duty, and I think while you were in the active duty, you and I had talked, and you were wanting to. I think you were just trying to decide if that's something you wanted to do at that time. If I'm right, and you ended up heading that direction. And you took your business from nothing, literally nothing, to now this year, you've grown substantially. So talk to us about, I think, where, how you started, what the decision process was, and maybe some of the important decisions that you made along the way. And then how have you grown so quickly?
So I will start off, Todd, by saying that Todd Dexheimer has a very important piece in this story, even though it's a very small piece, because I called Todd and I said, well, I really would like to be a full-time real estate investor. I think that'd be, a wonderful career choice for me. I loved the Army, but I was kind of disenfranchised with the active duty Army. Had a couple bosses that I didn't really care to work for. I'm sure that no one else listening to your podcast has ever experienced anything like that.
Yeah.
So I called Todd one day and I was like, well, Todd, I don't make enough money off my properties that I could live off that. I need to find something else to do too. And I was like, well, I think I'm going to become a real estate agent. But I heard some horror stories about how, only 2 out of 10 real estate agents make it past their first 2 years. And it's very, very hard to make a lot of money, this and that. So I asked Todd, do you think I should become a full-time real estate agent, or should I just do it part-time, and should I get another job instead? And you quick did the math and you're like, look, Tim, to make an income, you only need to sell, 10, 15 properties, whatever it may be. And you convinced me, no, just take the jump. Luckily, my wife and I were in the position with her working with her National Guard income, with my National Guard income, with our real estate investing income, and with the money we had saved. I didn't really have to make any money. So you had convinced me, okay, jump in, go full-time, work super, super hard, and you'll probably be able to at least make enough money to live off of. And you can always just go, if you fall flat on your face, if you fail, you can always go get another job, So I really had considered going and getting a, $50,000 a year job where I could have sat at a desk and, work my 45 hours a week. And I'm so glad that I didn't do that, because I think I would have failed as a real estate agent, because I think being a part-time real estate agent just inherently is not a good idea. And my income would have totally been limited. So it worked out really, really well that I listened to you. So I guess step one, how did I become successful at real estate sales quickly? I was smart enough to listen to people that I knew what they were talking about. And then it just came down to just motivation. I didn't want my wife to be the sole breadwinner. I really wanted to pull my own weight. So I would just, even if I didn't have anything to do, and I'll be honest, when you become a brand new real estate agent, you don't have anything to do. You don't have clients, you don't have people, it's not like you just get your set of business cards, buy some signs, then all of a sudden everyone's calling you and being like, hey, Tim, come list our house. It is not like that at all. So, but I found something to do every day. And that's the important thing, is if you can find some way to be productive every day and be even I know consistency is truly the most important thing. Even if you can just be semi-consistent, because some of the stuff you try is not going to be successful. I've heard that door knocking can be very successful for people. I have not had much luck door knocking, but I tried it, and so I decided not to stay consistent with door knocking, which wasn't working, but doing open houses did seem to work. So I have consistently done those. And just even if it seems like, man, I don't have anything going on, I don't have any clients, nobody in the pipeline, if you can still get the motivation to go into the office to do work and actually focus on building your business, even if it's small stuff, like you will see results. Absolutely. And I feel like a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest lack of what people do is that like you mentioned, most real estate agents don't make money. I mean, if you look at the average real estate agent, how much they make, it's really pretty bad. It's poverty level. And the reason why is I think exactly what you said. When you're a brand new real estate agent, you've got nothing to do. Like you've got no friends, right? You've got nobody calling you up and saying, "Hey, list my real estate." Or maybe you have one or two friends that want you to list their properties, but that doesn't pay the bills, right? That's 2-3 houses, and those go away. It's not like they're buying and selling a house every 6 months. You can't count on that. So you have to somehow figure out how to be motivated. And I love what you said. When you don't have anything to do, find something to do. And that's really important. What are the things that you found to do? Like if somebody were going, okay, I want to start my own business, or let's just say I want to become a real estate agent like Tim Nelson. What steps do I do from the beginning to get me to be able to get some commissions coming in as quickly as possible? Because that's the key, right? If you're not making money, you're not going to stay motivated.
So step one, Todd, is like you have to know what you're doing. I think that absolutely there is a personality match for like a real estate agent or any type of salesman. You don't have to be that perfect quintessential salesman in order to be successful, but there is that personality factor. However, you have to know what you're doing. You have to understand the market. You have to understand just real estate in general. Now, I came in with a leg up because number one, I didn't have to make money immediately. So I didn't come across as like super, super desperate. So and I had some money to spend on some marketing materials, which was good. B, I'd already bought and not sold, but I bought and managed several properties. So I knew something about real estate. So if you are a brand new person coming in, you need to get educated. Obviously, you're going to get licensed. What is that, an 80-hour course? That's not enough. You need to be picking your broker's brains. You need to be sitting down and having lunch with people like Todd Dexheimer. You need to be surfing the MLS and like literally learning like the market trends. Like, okay, how many homes have sold in this city in the last month? What is a good, what is my average purchase price in this community? Square footage to, list all those ratios and stuff like that. How much do homes sell for per square foot in Menominee, Wisconsin? Like, you need to know those things inside and out, and you need to be able to actually talk shop. I mean, that's one of the things that I think that new real estate agents struggle with the most is that they've taken the classes, they might know the right steps, but they just don't know enough about real estate to be considered an expert. And that's what people go to you for. They expect you to be an expert. Even if they think they're an expert, your client, and a lot of clients do think they're an expert, they've sold 5 homes in a lifetime. Maybe you, a good real estate agent, sells 5 in a month. So they expect you to know what you're talking about. And if you don't, that's step one. You got to learn the market, and you got to learn the business. You got to know the contracts inside and out. And that's one of my brokers. He told me, he's like, hey, when you're sitting at an open house and nobody's there, nothing's going on, bring an offer to purchase with you, bring a listing contract with you, bring an addendum B, which in Wisconsin is like the well and septic addendum, and read those things word for word so you understand them and you know them. And that helped because I feel like I can go to bat with most anybody. People who've been in the industry for 15 years, I think I can go in and just talk real estate, and I feel like I know just as much as they do. Gives you confidence.
Yeah, definitely. That's fantastic advice. And no matter what business you're in, getting educated is extremely important. Anything else? What else did you do that maybe set you apart? Because I guarantee it, there's people that joined your brokerage at or near the same time as you that either are no longer in the business or that maybe are in the business but are just kind of floating along.
Right. Yep, you're correct. So I'll just tell you a few of the things that I did. Taking consistent action, some of the steps that I did and the things that I chose to focus on that really helped were a big part was social media. I hit social media pretty hard. I decided Facebook was the social media platform that I was the most comfortable with. So I chose to use that one the most and the heaviest. Um, I do a lot of Facebook Live videos. I first started with real estate a year and a half ago. Real estate or Facebook Live was just starting to become like a bigger thing, and not very many agents were doing it. And honestly, people know that it works, and still not a lot of agents are doing it. And that's been nice for me. Only one time ever, Todd, have I done a Facebook Live video and somebody commented on it, and it was actually like, "Hey, Tim, my boyfriend and I are looking to buy a home. Will you be our realtor?" Literally, someone asked me that on a Facebook Live video on a comment, and I said yes, and I sold him a home. And it was actually one of the first homes I sold. So you don't usually get like layup leads like that. However, I don't think there's any way to stay front of mind and in front of people any better than doing that. You know, I get all sorts of people who will come up to me and be like, "Oh yeah, I saw your Facebook Live video." And I'm like, "Geez, you never like it or comment on it or, engage with it at all." But they see it. And that's really is pretty good marketing. Everybody in the world, in my world at least, yeah, I should say it, but everybody in my world knows that I'm a real estate agent and that I'm at least moderately successful. And I think that was a big part of it. I also have done a lot of
But
direct.
and even when before you were successful, you're kind of showing that you're engaging and you're going to be successful. People know that when you're first beginning and you're doing these Facebook Lives and you're committed and you're on social media, they know you're committed and serious about it. And they know you're not just a hobbyist. And that's what most people want, is they want to deal with somebody who's committed, knowledgeable, and is going to be consistent. And that really helps.
Yep. No, I would agree. I try to do at least one a week, even still. My goal is always one a week. I don't want to inundate people. I really never do more than two a week. Perhaps I could, but that's what I'm doing right now. Like I said, one of the direct mail things that I've seen some success with, and it's just something again that most agents aren't doing, is I'll literally just go into the tax records and I'll find people that don't live in their homes. Hey, you know, Brad Dexheimer owns a home in Menominee, Wisconsin, yet his mailing address is Indiana. I'll send him a letter and be like, "Hey, do you want to sell your second home?" And I've seen some success with that. Not a lot, but just doing those other things that other real estate agents aren't doing, it's going to set you apart. And you don't need to get every lead. You don't need to sell 150 homes a year. Maybe you only need to sell 30, 35. So by doing those little things, that helps. And then obviously giving awesome service to the clients that you have right at the time. Now, I don't think there's any better marketing than that, is just taking care of the people that you have right in front of you that are already clients. If you do a good job with them, they are going to reward you over and over and over again. So you can't neglect what you have going right now, chasing future business, because I'm in business right now, which is July 9th of 2019. I would also like to be in business July 9th of 2029. So if I take care of those people right now, I think that'll help. Just for example, Todd, I had one of my high school friends contacted me and said, "Hey, Tim, I'd like to buy a home this year with my fiance." So I sold them a home, and then their parents came along on a couple of showings, and they seemed to be impressed with me. And then I ended up listing their home when their parent died. And then they said, "Hey, Tim did such a good job." They referred me to their neighbor. I listed and sold their neighbor. And then his cousin also reached out to me and was like, "Hey, Tim, I saw you're working with Chris. Come list my home." So within a week, I closed 4 homes just because I took good care of one of my high school buddies.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a great story. And that's the story of, like you just said, you can't neglect your current business just to chase the new leads. You got to take care of the people that are feeding you right now. What are there any tactics that you use to make sure you're staying, in front of? I mean, we already talked about the Facebook, but is there anything else you're doing to make sure you're taking care of the current clients?
I mean, I think like any real estate agent, I just have a tracking system of, all the deals I have under contract or all the people that are currently searching for homes. And I just try to do a weekly touch. It's nothing more, nothing less than that, but just making sure it's like, even sometimes if it's just a phone call as simple as, hey, I'm thinking about you. I'm still here. It's that awkward period in between you're done with all of your inspections, your appraisal came back and we're waiting to close for 3 weeks and we have nothing to talk about, but just touching base so people know that you're there and thinking about them.
Cool. So, Tim, anything else that you want to mention on building your business and what's been successful?
Other than just rolling with the punches and having a positive attitude, I think if you're a negative person, I think real estate is going to be a tough business for you because there's a lot of things that inherently go wrong on the investment side, managing properties and real estate sales. So if you let the tough stuff and those bad days get you down, you're going to be down a lot. So just being able to bounce back, I always liken it to Brett Favre. Brett Favre threw a lot of interceptions, yet he's still a Hall of Famer. Why? Because he let him go and he just went back out there and tried again. So that's the same thing I try to do.
Awesome. Great advice. So for your business, anything that you're trying to do today to take you to the next level?
Well, I think that I'm a pretty good writer, Todd. So I've recently started blogging. So I've gotten positive feedback on it. I'd like to expand that to get more people to read it. But so I've started doing that. I did hire a transaction coordinator this year just to take a little bit of the pressure off myself. Todd and I were talking before the podcast that I can probably take another step by hiring another at least part-time professional to help me just manage the things that I have going on. And then additionally, Todd, I realized that I enjoy real estate sales so much more than I enjoy property management that I actually manage almost none of my properties anymore. I completely have outsourced that. So the properties I own in Kansas, property manager, my dad manages everything that we own together. I actually only manage 2 properties anymore, and I'm actually considering moving those out as well, just having my dad manage those. I don't mow my own lawns. I don't do any of my own maintenance. I hire all that out just because it frees me up to do something that I get a lot more personal happiness and satisfaction out of. And I definitely make more money per hour. So I guess I would be curious, Todd, as what you say your dollar per hour worth is, but I'll tell you mine. I try not to do any work that's under $100 per hour. So if I can hire somebody to do something for $25 an hour, I'm not going to do it, because I can do something else because I think my time's worth more than that.
In other words, you need to hire a bookkeeper to take
Yes. Yeah, I am a terrible bookkeeper, Todd. So correct.
Yeah, no, I think that's really important though. What you just said to be thinking about is what are you worth and what do you like, and what you just said there about hiring the property management out and not mowing the lawns and not doing the maintenance. That's super important because it's creating a lifestyle that you really want and that you enjoy. And so if you like that sales just way better than being the property manager, then you need to be getting rid of that stuff. And that's going to make you a better landlord in the end. And it's going to make you be a better realtor and serve your clients much better than if you're trying to tackle some of those other things that you really don't enjoy.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it honestly came more down to happiness than it did money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it should, quite frankly. I mean, money is important. We need it to survive, but there's a point where, money only goes so far. And what's the point of having it and hoarding it if you're not creating happiness? And so you need to do things that are going to really drive you. And what's going to happen and this is the funny thing is what's going to end up happening is you are going to make a lot more money because of the decisions you've made, because of giving up some of these things. You're going right now, today, or the day that happened, you spent more money. Right now, you had to hire somebody else, but that ended up freeing up more time to now in the future. You're going to create a lot more value, which in turn is going to create a lot more income.
Mm-hmm.
Tim, what's a mistake you've made along the way, and how have you learned from it?
I've made a lot. So, not investing, in like organizational systems and skills, because I'm not very good at a lot of that kind of stuff, like the organization stuff. That's something that I'm paying for right now. I flat out lost a really good listing recently just because I wasn't as organized as I should have been. And I knew what I needed to do, and I was just really busy, so I didn't do it, and it ended up costing me. Another one too is, I would say that I kind of regret investing in some low income apartments that I have right now. It's worked out for me, and it will work out, but that's not something I enjoy, and it's not something that my personality is really a good match for. I've moved away from that arena and kind of promised myself I won't do it again. So I would say, I don't know if I wouldn't do it again if I had to live everything all over again, but I wouldn't do it again now. So.
Yeah. Well, you've learned what you enjoy and what your niche is, and now you're willing to stick to it, which is important, instead of chasing the deal. So many investors chase deals just because it's a deal, but it doesn't really fit their investment strategy potentially. All right, so we're going to wrap up. I got a couple more questions I want to ask you. What's your favorite business or real estate book?
So when we were talking about this yesterday, I thought about it. Does The Alchemist count?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say The Alchemist. I'm not a big business book reader, Todd. I read a lot of fantasy novels about wizards and sword fighting. I don't really care to read about business very much. I probably should, but I don't. But I really like The Alchemist, because I think it's just a wonderful philosophy book about a great philosophy on life. I don't know if you've read it, Todd, but it's just it's just about how important it is to chase your personal legend and to chase your personal dreams, and ultimately that will lead to success if as hard as you possibly can you fight and chase and go after your dreams. A success will meet you halfway. So yeah, The Alchemist.
Awesome. So last question before we wrap up. What are your 3 pillars of wealth creation?
Okay. So I wrote these down. My 3 pillars of wealth creation are, number 1, multiple streams of income. So like I said, my wife and I are very fortunate that we both have our National Guard incomes, which are not insignificant, our rental property income, my real estate sales income, and then when my wife's working, her income as well. And that just, because at any given time, one of those is probably not going well, but maybe the other 3 or 4 are, and it just creates it creates financial security and just the ability for you to have extra money left over to invest.
Awesome.
So, oh yeah, number 2, sorry. Networking with successful people. I think that's so important, whether you're going to be, investing in real estate, which I think is a very, very smart thing to invest in, or if you're going to invest in something else, if you're networking with people who are in the field that you are and they are successful at it, that will create opportunity. So, I'll just give a quick example. I sold a big set of properties this year. For me, it was like a $1.1 million sale. And the only reason that came about is because that particular investor was a young man, just networked really, really well. And he would have never heard about the deal had he not. Just that alone increased his net worth and mine, because I was his agent. But yeah, absolutely networking. And then
And that one's so important, and it's easy to push aside and not do because we're always get so busy. But absolutely, building relationships with other people is probably one of the most, if not the most important part.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree. And then number three would be having a supportive spouse. Um, and I know that one maybe sounds cliche, but I really feel like if you and your spouse or significant other are not on the same page, I feel like it would be so hard to build wealth. If you're constant, if you can't agree on anything and you have just different spending habits and different goals, and if you just aren't on the same page financially, I feel like that would just be probably a good way to get divorced and not build wealth. So,
Yeah, and for me, my spouse, my wife is not. She's not a real estate investor, and she doesn't care about real estate investing, and she doesn't really have any passion in what I do. But she's extremely supportive of what I do, and she allows for the time commitment and just the flexibility with the kids and their schedules and all that kind of stuff. So that's really important with what you said. In my opinion, they don't necessarily have to have the same vision and goals and have to be doing it with you, but they have to align and be able to allow you to do what you need and be supportive in that manner as well.
mm.
So perfect. Well, Tim, I appreciate you joining us. I'm excited to continue to hear about your journey and success. I know that the next time I talk to you, it's going to be even better and it's going to continue to grow. And I'm excited to hear as you continue to grow of your progress. So thanks a lot for joining us on the show and for the value you're able to add.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me, Todd. Yeah, I appreciate our relationship, and yeah, thanks again.
All right, take care. Hey, special thanks to Tim Nelson for joining us on the show. Appreciate him and the value he was able to add. A couple things I took from it. First of all, he talks about when you don't have anything to do, find things to do. Just make sure you continue to find things to do. And that's really important for those who are just beginning. Obviously, if you've been going for quite a long time, typically you have something to do. But even then, you might find yourself into a kind of a rut, and make sure you dig yourself up and find stuff to do. The next thing he talks about is taking consistent action, making sure you're doing things every single day. Again, it goes along with kind of the first one. And then the last thing among many that he talks about is networking with successful people. Make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people that are successful. And you've heard it before. You are who you keep your company with. You're the sum of the top, the 5 people you spend the most time with. So make sure that you're networking and spending time with successful people as well. Again, appreciate Tim for joining us and the time he was able to spend. Excited to see his journey unfold and continue to grow. And yeah, that's it. I'm signing out. Make every day a Saturday. Hey, thanks for listening to the show. Couple things before we go. Again, go on to our Facebook page, Pillars of Wealth. We'd love to have you on there. Go on to iTunes, give us a rating and review, and subscribe to the show. Also, don't forget, reach out to me if you want any help with potentially growing your business, and reach out to John Stiles to help you buy or sell real estate. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Have a fantastic the rest of the day. And as I say, make every day a Saturday.